Many of you have been leaving this person's name in the comment section of a few of my videos, so I pretty much now get the hint that this is a story that many of you have been wanting me to speak on, and some have already spoken about it. And I know I'm a bit late to the party when it comes to this. As a matter of fact, many of us are late anyways, because this is a story right here that did not recently happen. It actually occurred back in February, but it's just now getting some traction. And I think we pretty much know why. So in this picture, you see a man by the name of Ahmaud Arbery, and he was a 25-year-old from Georgia who was killed by two palm-colored men while he was just minding his business jogging. Now it has spiraled into something completely out of control, and basically the family just needs more answers and solutions rather than just getting the runaround. And now with this virus going out there, it's harder for them to really get that. But I'm gonna go ahead and read this article that's coming from Insider. It says a 25-year-old black man was shot dead in Georgia while jogging, prompting online protests, labeling the incidents as racial profiling. A black man jogging in an affluent suburban Georgia neighborhood was shot dead by neighbors on February 23rd, who thought he was a robber, setting off online protests labeling the incident as racial profiling. Ahmaud Arbery was jogging around Brunswick, Georgia, before he was killed in nearby Satilla Shores. Arbery ran by Gregory McMichael, who called to his son Travis McMichael before grabbing their .357 Magnum revolver and shotgun, and followed Arbery in a truck. Now look at this. Like I said, he was minding his business. He was just going on a jog, and this palm-colored guy, man, and went and got his son. Both got their guns, hopped in their truck, and followed this man off of the assumption that he was one of the guys responsible for a string of robberies. See, that's that mindset that all black people do is rob. Now, mind you, he was in a what? Affluent neighborhood. Meaning he wasn't in no ghetto, no project, no hood, nothing like that. But they still saw what? A black man, and that's all they needed to see to assume that he was dangerous and then later kill him. Although he was just jogging, what would he have been armed with? Like, in your jogging attire, it's kind of hard for you to carry anything without it being seen. It says, "Stop, stop," they shouted at Mr. Arbery, according to the Times. "We want to talk to you." Gregory McMichael told police he thought Arbery was the suspect in a string of break-ins. Arbery died after being shot twice in a struggle over the shotgun. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the elder McMichael, who was a former police officer, of course, was the only source quoted in the police report, and that led critics to suspect that his influence played a role in authorities' decision not to bring charges. There's a lot of suspicion of law enforcement down here, Akeem Baker, a friend of Arbery, told AJC. George E. Barnhill, a prosecutor who previously worked the case, told the police that McMichaels acted within the scopes of Georgia's citizens arrest statute, and that Travis McMichael, who held the shotgun, had acted out of self-defense. Let's run this back. So this black man is minding his business, doing a jog, which is something he's probably always done, never had any problem. These two palm-colored men see him, automatically assume he's a threat because of a string of break-ins, and they just assume it's him. First off, how do we know it wasn't someone that looked like them? See, it's the whole thing that black people do nothing but kill, rob, vandalize, and destroy. But if you look at everything that I just said on the FBI crime stats, who leads in all of those categories? Palm-colored people lead in every last category that I just mentioned. And then they hop in their truck with their guns, which means they went there with the intent to most likely commit harm. Otherwise, they would have not have to carry the guns, and they carry two guns, a revolver and a shotgun. They went there with the intent to cause some trouble, to get some dust kicked up. And they went and approached this man, and then they said it was a struggle over the shotgun because he was probably trying to defend himself, and then they shot him twice with the shotgun. I can imagine what that scene looked like. And now they're saying that the son and the dad acted in self-defense. I swear, only in America. In a letter recusing himself sent to Glenn County Police Department, Barnhill wrote that he did not believe there was evidence of a crime, noting that Gregory McMichael and his son had been legally carrying their weapons under Georgia law. And then it goes back to that statute part that I read before where they said they can act and do like citizens arrest and stuff like that. That's where that law only works for Caucasian people. Only. When's the last time you've seen that work for a black person? I can't recall that the last time that happened or worked for one black person. But usually when they do it, it's always usually them going after us. And mind you, also, Georgia also has the stand your ground law. Additionally, he wrote that the McMichaels had solid first-hand probable cause and were justified in chasing him because they thought he was a burglary suspect under the state's citizen arrest law. A new prosecutor is on the case after Barnhill recused himself because Arbery's family filed a complaint that he had a conflict of interest. So this Barnhill guy clearly knows these two. No wonder he was barking all of this stuff up. Good thing they recused him. They need to remove him altogether. Wanda Cooper, Arbery's mother, asked Barnhill to recuse himself because his son works in Brunswick's district attorney's office where Gregory McMichael used to work. Neither the father nor son have been charged with Arbery's killing. Some family members and friends of Arbery told the Times that the lack of attention to the case is concerning. They're concerned that the inability to protest and organize due to the virus social distancing order will mean that the case will go unnoticed. We can't do anything because of this because of this woo-woo stuff. Wanda Cooper, Arbery's mother, told the Times. We thought about walking out where the shooting occurred, just doing a little march, but we can't go out right now. I don't see why they can't, considering those fools in Michigan did that on the state capitol. But I understand why she wouldn't do it, because she knows that it would have a different reception for them versus them. I've always said us versus them society. Activists in Brunswick have been trying to organize protests online. They created a Facebook page and coordinated a pressure campaign, emailing law enforcement officials, and the local newspaper created hashtag I Run With Maud and hashtag Justice for Ahmad. And even printed t-shirts. There are a lot of people absolutely ready to protest, but because of social distancing and being safe, we have to watch what's going on with the virus. Jason Vaughn, a football coach at Brunswick High School, told Coach Arbery told the Times. Family members and friends said they believe Arbery was just running the day of the incident. He had to run, Baker told the AJC. That was his therapy. Hoping to spread the awareness of his friend's story, Baker started the Facebook page I Run With Maud. I want investigators to know they've got a lot of eyes watching, and Baker told the AJC. However, according to the Times, someone called the police station and said a black man with a white t-shirt had run inside a house under construction that was only partially closed in, and he's running right now. The man told the dispatcher, there he goes right now. Arbery's family said he was most likely wearing a white t-shirt, khaki shorts, Nike sneakers, and a bandana when he was exercising that day. Family, friends, and activists told the Times that whether or not Arbery may have been engaged in some property crime did not warrant the attack, and they contend he was targeted for his skin color. Arbery had some run-ins with police in the past, including being sentenced to 5 years probation as a first offender on charges of carrying a weapon on campus and several counts of obstructing a law enforcement officer. And see, it's that part right there that they're going to take and they're going to run with, in saying that, oh, he somehow deserved it. Because see, we can do something as much as litter, and we will be held down forever by that. Even though that wouldn't even, in some places, that wouldn't even be qualified as a misdemeanor. Arbery was also charged for shoplifting and violating his probation in 2018. See how they're bringing all this stuff up here to try to now justify his death? I knew that was going to come out, said Cooper, who said her son shouldn't be judged for his past mistakes. He wouldn't harm a flea. His spirit was so humble. Cooper said that if her son was breaking any laws on the night he was killed, the police should have handled the situation and he should have not been chased by the McMichaels. This incident was at the least a case of overly zealous citizens that wrongfully profiled the victim without cause. These men felt justified in taking the law into their own hands. Reverend John Davis Perry II, the president of the Brunswick chapter of the NAACP, told the Times. He told the AJC that he was concerned about the case failing. This has caused many to raise the question, will this be another national case where our legal system fails to be a system of justice for all, Perry told the AJC. That whole citizens arrest thing always got me. Like I said, that's usually a way for palm-colored people to just call the police on black people for no reason. I'll never forget a few years ago in Georgetown, it was an app that could be created for everybody, but it was an app that was created where if you it was almost like one of those if you see something, say something kind of apps. All these palm-colored people couldn't wait to download it, and they said in just a month they had a record number of calls, and sometimes for the most ridiculous things. Or like that story out in New York that I did a couple years ago, where you had this old palm-colored lady who moved into a predominantly black area, who called the cops on this place for noise ordinance. And it turns out that it was just the church having choir rehearsal. And because it was the summertime, and I don't know if y'all realize it, but it gets hot in the summertime in New York, like really hot. And they had the doors open so they could let air come in. And she called the cops on them for a noise ordinance. And mind you, the church wasn't even on her block. It was like a couple blocks over. But yeah, I'm not surprised that that the father and the son didn't get charged for murdering this man. That's just another day in America, even in the midst of a pandemic, even though this was before the pandemic really, really took off. It was like a good, 2 weeks before where we are right now. I offer my condolences to his family and friends. I truly believe that they should not, like the mother said, should not relate what happened to him now to any past transgressions that he had or any kind of run-ins with the laws. That's small. Those are little misdemeanors right there. Those aren't even felonies. But like I said, it doesn't matter when it comes to you being a black man in this establishment. You do one wrong thing in their eyes and it's curtains. It's a wrap. But unfortunately, I don't think anything is going to happen to these two men. They practically just allowed them to get away with murder. And I'm glad they recused that other attorney trying to say it was self-defense. They said it was a conflict of interest. They should have removed him from being a lawyer altogether. All those lies he tried to prop up there to try to get them off. None of this remotely surprises me. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Have your notifications turned on. I'll talk to you in the next one.